or pictures, but that's pretty typical. Like you work really hard to emphasize your good features and de-emphasize your not as good in a conventional beauty sense features. And it's just one of those fun things. That was, I decided back then, National Lampoon was still coming out. I went, what I would really like to do is have Aardvark comment be like the letters that they make up in National Lampoon, but have them be real letters. And that seemed to pan out really well. Connie Lingus being a very good example. Now, in the TMI category, and what the heck, as is Randy Gray asking about Connie Lingus, there was nothing I could do with Connie Lingus in Pittsburgh after the show because I was going out with Judith at the time. So it's like, this was a lot of fun. Thanks for coming out, and thanks for being such a good sport about this. Good night kind of thing. But then about a month after the Pittsburgh show, I broke up with Judith in St. Louis at St. Louis stuff. And then I'd already arranged for Connie Lingus to be a surprise guest at the New York stuff. And she lived in New Jersey. So it was, okay, well, there isn't a Judith problem this time. Am I actually going to sleep with Connie Lingus? And, of course, being a complete sleazeball at the time, it's like, well, hell yeah. So I actually did. We spent a very enjoyable afternoon walking around New York City, and then went back to my incredibly small New York City hotel room because Great Eastern Conventions was paying for it, and they weren't going to spring for anything much better than bare subsistence. And having had this wonderful big dinner with Connie Lingus and having walked all the way around New York City, and then having had sex with Connie Lingus, I had what I would describe as a gastric upset. So I had to go to the bathroom in a hurry. And the bathroom is about 15 inches away from everything else in the hotel room. So I knew that Connie Lingus could hear me in there and hear exactly how bad that was. And it's like, well, there it goes. There you go, Dave. That serves you right. That's not a particularly admirable thing that you just did with Connie. And this is about what that is on the human scale of values. And there you go. You have to wear this.
Connie's takeaway was probably never meet your heroes.
That's it. It's like one of those, okay, everything was fine up till that point, but boy, did that ever put an unhappy ending on this particular story. So there you go. Dan Nidzani, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, Dan, asks, it's always been a frustration that 51, 112, 113, and 137, 138 are excluded from the phone book. Please consider putting these into a square-bound collection. Basically, Cerebus Zero plus the World Tour book. Perhaps throw in random covers, pin-up sketches to round it out. Okay, we've talked about this before, and it's a vicious circle on that one. If that was what we were talking about doing, yes, definitely that would be doable. Not as doable as everybody thinks it is. I would rather have Sean Robinson doing his digital remastering magic on Strange Death of Alex Raymond Volume 2, and then doing the corrections on Strange Death of Alex Raymond Volume 1, than doing 51, 112, 113, 137, 138. And if we did do that, and just did that as a volume with some sketches and other things, then we're going to get complaints from people going, well, when are you going to do all of these stories? When are you going to do all of those stories? And it's like, okay, it's one or the other. If you don't do all of the black and white material as a 500-page remastered book, then all you're going to do is get complaints about the stuff that you haven't reprinted, which is exactly what Dan's doing. Now, he's doing it in a very nice way, but that's what he's doing. I would say at this point, I would be willing to do that. Let's just say 51, 112, 113, 137, 138, and all of the backup stories that are in the World Tour book, and we'll cap it at that. It's like, that's all that we're doing. We would have to find somebody who was able to remaster the material, which would involve, a Moment of Cerebus has inventoried all of Sean Robinson's, here's how you remaster black and white artwork. Here's all of the stuff that you do to get it as accurate as possible. Sean's not going to do it, but it would have to be somebody who was as good as Sean doing it. And so if there's anybody out there that thinks they're in that category, yeah, I read all of the stuff that Sean did about remastering black and white artwork, and particularly remastering Dave Sim and Gerhardt's black and white artwork. And I know all of this stuff, and I'm pretty sure I can do a printable version of all of these things. At that point, okay, I'll go and find the negatives, and I'll go and find however much of the artwork that there is, and get that scanned. I think a lot of it has been scanned and sent to Sean, and whoever it is can, have a try at it. It'll have to wait until Sean can approve the remastering and say, yeah, this is as good as I would have done, so you can go straight to print. And we'll do a Kickstarter with it, or I'll solicit for it through Diamond, or whatever else. And we'll just have to say, this is what it has to be capped at. It's got to be capped as Cerebus Zero and the World Tour book, 51, 112, 113, 137, 138. And that's all that it's going to consist of. And we'll see if we can move that along. So there you go. It's not complete no, as it usually is when this comes up. But it's not exactly a oh hell yes, and we'll get this done before the end of the year kind of thing. It's a long-term process. Let's see what anybody has to say about it in the comments section. Or vote for Dave Sim this time around.
I will email Sean and ask him what he has scans of that is any of the stuff that we're talking about, and have him pick out one or two test pages of, okay, you want to do it, we'll get you the file, remaster it, and send it to Sean, and if it doesn't hold up, if it's not good enough, we'll let you know, okay, nope, it's not there.
Okay, and Sean, if you're listening, don't do this instead of Strange Death of Alex Raymond. Please.
Well, yeah, it's very much. I'm going to explain to Sean. It's we just need 1 or 2 pages as test pages of anybody who wants to get in on restoration. Okay, you got to get it to Sean level without Sean's help, other than with what he wrote. The Paper to Pixel series he did of how to do it.